In this segment, we'll just take a closer look at the tool options settings. And so what I need to do, basically, to see the tool options, I need to have some embroidery object selected. And so, for example, if I select the ellipse tool, or the ellipse shape that I'd created, we can see here in the tool options that I have several settings, and the first one is X and Y coordinates. And basically what that means is exactly where is it situated within your embroidery hoop, and you can see here the setting, the X is minus 47.23 and the Y is 66.38. Now if I change that to be, well, let's just change it to a small change to, let's say, 75 and hit enter, it moves it up higher. And again with the X, it's minus 47. Why don't I change it to be minus, I don't know, let's say 57. Moves it over. So basically you've got your X and Y coordinates based on your 0 at your center and your 0 at your center of your hoop. And so that's one way that you can mathematically change exactly where an object is placed within your embroidery hoop. Moving over from there, you've got your size, so your width, specifically 41 millimeters wide, 30 millimeters tall. If you said, well, geez, I really want it to be a perfect circle, well, I guess I would make this 41 wide by 41 tall, so I'll just change the 41.44 height, and so that's going to give you that matching. Oh, sorry, it didn't, because I have it checked off to be proportional. So I'm actually just going to use undo. So we'll go back to the original, which was it's 41 wide and 30 tall, and if I change them either by percentages or by size, they're kept proportional. But if I uncheck proportional, now I could adjust just the height, not the width. So we'll make the height 41.44, and now I get that perfectly circular shape that I was looking for. So when you have proportional checked off, that means if I said to this, make it 50% smaller and hit enter, it makes it 50% smaller both width and height. So that's part of that. Now moving along the toolbar, we also have a duplicate option. If I click duplicate, right away you can see, now I'll just left click and drag, and so basically, whoops, I let go. If you just click on any object and click duplicate, then you can easily move it to create new copies of the same object. Now when one's selected, that's when you see the tool options, and I guess the other options in here are going to be the mirror image, and maybe a circle is not going to be the easiest one to see mirror imaging, so why don't we try, for example, this parallelogram. And now if I say mirror on the X coordinate, it's going to show you that. I'll put it back. If I say mirror on the Y coordinate, flip it the other way. So yeah, that's one way that you could, I guess, duplicate an object and then mirror image it or whatever. You also have the ability to rotate it, and of course a lot of these settings, a lot of these edits, these modifications, these are the numerical versions of these modifications. I'm going to show you in the next segment how you can use your select tool and do them visually, but this is how you can do them quite specifically. So if we said, well, I'd like to rotate this by, I don't know, let's say 25%, 25 degrees, type 25 to hit enter, and it rotates it that 25 degrees. So it's just one more way that you can control the appearance of our objects. Now the outline, this setting here for the outline, that speaks to this width of this outline, and if I want the outline to be, I guess, skinnier, I'll type 1 millimeter and hit enter, and I'll have a smaller. And notice at 1 millimeter it doesn't want to give me a satin stitch outline, it wants to give me like a triple run outline, and I can see that. So as soon as I go, I guess, over 1, so let's go to 1.5, I'm pretty sure that gives me a satin stitch border. So that's one way that you can control the width of your outline. If I make it 3 millimeters, I'll get a nice big fat border. And so yeah, and the last thing, this was to do with always, these last two options are always going to be dependent upon which tool was used to create the shape. So in this case, I had created a parallelogram And the tool, if you recall, gives me the option to create either a parallelogram or a trapezoid, and so I have that checkbox, if I select it again, to change this from a parallelogram to a trapezoid and back, and I have the ability to control the slant. So it's 80, and if I want to make it 50, well, that's 5. If I want to make it 50, you would see a different appearance. So those are the tool options, and again, they change. So for example, if I select on this shape here, I can see all the same XY coordinates, size, scale, keep it proportional, duplicate it, mirror imaging, rotate, outline width. But what's different this time is I have the ability to control the number of sides. So if we want to go back to a 8-sided hexagon, or if we wanted to change the slant angle from 90 to, let's say, 70, and then you kind of have your basically your stop sign shape. So that's a little bit more about the tool options, and you'll find that anytime you create an object, that when you select it, that you have tool options available. And so that's a little bit more about how to change and set your tool options.